I showed up at Site 7 with Amy, and the van was in the back. And they're like, well, you ready to see it? I said, of course I'm ready to see it. Yeah. So as I'm walking up to it, someone opens the door from the inside. It's got all the lights on. And it was just like, oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this van. And couldn't wait to hop in and just stood there spinning in circles looking at all the different things they had done. And it was, it was everything we sort of discussed. My vision, their vision just came together beautifully.
Mike started with an empty cargo van, and now it's a fully built, adventure-ready home on wheels. Today, it's finally time for the full walkthrough.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, welcome back to Mike's Van Build Podcast. I'm Jerem from Vanlife Outfitters, and today we've reached the big finale. 8 episodes ago, this van was a blank canvas, and now it's done. It's been designed, built, and it's ready for the road. If you've enjoyed following along, be sure to like and subscribe. Now let's dive into the final conversation I had with Mike. Mike, we finally made it. Thanks for joining us for the big finale.
Yeah, I even dressed up. I put a button down on. Notice it's got all
so
little
fancy.
Sprinter vans all over it. So
I love that shirt. Where'd you get that shirt?
Oh, somewhere online, but I figured for the final show, I better dress up.
I'm sorry. I'm wearing the same exact shirt I've been wearing this whole time.
Vanlife Outfitters. So,
I can tell, and for those who are just listening, you might want to watch YouTube this time around because you're actually in the van.
I'm living the dream.
You made it.
I did. Yeah.
And are you using satellite internet right now?
No, I got the Starlink turned on. Starlink recently came out with this thing, like a temporary pause. You pay $5 and you still get a little bit of internet, but not the full blast when you pay the full 165. So the beauty of Starlink is you can turn it on or turn it off. And this new little addition apparently is still giving me enough power to just plug right into the old Starlink.
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited to actually see the van finally. So tell us about the pickup. How'd that go? That must have been so exciting.
Well, I'll tell you, I showed up at Site 7 with Amy, and the van was in the back. And they're like, well, you ready to see it? I said, of course I'm ready to see it.
Better believe it.
Yeah. So as I'm walking up to it, someone opens the door from the inside. It's got all the lights on. And it was just like, oh my goodness, look at this. Look at this van. And couldn't wait to hop in and just stood there spinning in circles looking at all the different things they had done. And it was, it was everything we sort of discussed. My vision, their vision just came together beautifully.
Oh, I wish I could have been there. That would have been a lot of fun to see.
Yeah.
Big picture, how much are you loving it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I've managed to get out for about 4 nights. Nothing long term yet, but a couple bike trips. We actually camped out because we went back to Site 7 because they were doing a couple more little additions that they hadn't completed. They had to get a new tray, a couple different things. So we drove over and camped out the night before. And, again, we're there bright and early and they're ready to go. Just sort of, and what's really nice about them is, they said, yeah, drive it around, do a little shakedown, see if anything starts to get loose or whatever. And by all means, come back and we'll just go through it one more time after you've actually camped in it and used the different things. So when I was gone, I used the heater real quick. I've been running the AC, the max fan. So yeah, it was great to pick it up. And, these guys, I think, were pretty proud of their work because they, like I said, they were just excited as I was.
Yeah, it sounds like they put on a production for the reveal. Somebody's inside waiting to open the door.
And the awning was out too. Yeah, they had the awning out. I mean, I was just kind of in a haze because, it's like I'm winning, the Price is Right kind of thing.
That's fantastic. And what were some of the first things that you noticed seeing the van when you picked it up that you loved?
I actually really like their Site 7 logos that they put because I said, I really want you guys feel free to put your badges wherever you want. So they picked this really nice color green for the Site 7 logo. Um, and just stepping inside, I had not seen the fabric other than a tiny little swatch. And it was just gorgeous. I mean, they did over the front seats, they did the compartment above the seats. I mean, it's just so exquisitely done. The fabric is tight and clean. They've trimmed out different maple wood in different spots. And at the same time, I feel like it has this sort of industrial, tough interior. I mean, it kind of surpassed my vision or expectations. And so they're just like, yeah, go ahead and look around. But then we want to sit down and actually, let's go through the van. So here's one of the things I don't think we talked about in the past about selecting a van company is, the pickup process. I've had customers call us at Vanlife Outfitters. Yeah, I bought this van and I don't know what does what in the van. I said, well, did they not talk you through it? Like, no, they just threw me the keys and I left. So Site 7, Amy's got her notebook out. What does this switch do? How do you do that? How do you do this? And so just to go through a really good orientation of what each button does, how you turn this light on, how you turn the hot water heater on, how do you dump the gray water tank, all the stuff that you, again, in the moment of excitement, I couldn't even pay attention. So Amy was scribbling stuff down. So yeah, that took a good hour just to talk about what each button did. How do I turn the lights on the floor? How do I do this? Oh, you can turn the hot water heater on over here, but you can also turn the water pump on the front, or you can turn it on in the back. You have to turn one off before you turn the other. So yeah, we took a fair amount of time just sort of going through what they had done and where everything was in the van.
And you said you've already stayed in it 4 times.
Yeah, I went on a couple bike trips. Actually, Amy and I went on one weekend. Then I did a solo bike trip. Then we did another hiking, just a weekend of hiking. And then when we went back to Chattanooga to have them fix up the tray and just do sort of a shakedown to make sure everything was tight. It was interesting because he's like, yeah, I'm glad you brought it in. One of these steps is a little bit loose. So I got in there and tightened that. So, and then they're designing a different floor mat I think their seamstress got sick or their sewing machine went down. So I'm still waiting for that. But yeah, it's been fun to go out. And I'm not used to having a garage I can sort of crawl through and bikes on the back. And so it's kind of a big difference compared to Willow.
So in the first 8 episodes, we talked about so many decisions you made. Now that you've stayed in the van a few times, you've done a few different types of things in it. Uh, have any of your decisions stood out as being some of your
Oh yeah,
favorites or the best decisions
yeah,
you made?
yeah.
Tell us about some of them.
The electrical system. We talked about the secondary alternator. Um, I don't know where I was, or the van had been in the driveway or something, and I went out. I was like, God, the batteries are like at 74%. And I was like, hey, babe, I'm going to just run to the grocery store and run a couple errands. I was gone for about an hour and a half. When I came back, my batteries were like 98%. I was like, holy cow, babe. I just drove around town and we could park for another 7 or 8 days if we were relying on just the batteries. So the secondary alternator definitely exceeded my expectations. When I'm looking at 300 amp hours going into my battery bank, it's pretty impressive. So that
Wow.
was kind of nice. Uh, my computer is sitting on top of the butcher block for the sink, and there's no faucet sticking out. I remember I got the sink where you could push the faucet down
Right.
and put a piece on top. That's really nice. I'd always bump my elbow on the one in Willow. I don't have a glass top induction cooktop, which is nice because I was always afraid I was going to drop something on it and break it. Of course, just coming into the van, the floor space is nice, the distance, having the 2 bench seats. So here's the bench seat that's will be hidden under the bed. You can see the bed there. If you want, I can show you how that works, but I'm in the front bench, and then there's the back bench.
Yeah, you mentioned 2 benches. I got to say, I pictured it differently. So the bed
Right.
looks like to me, it looks like it's laid out already. I thought it
Well,
folded up. How does that
that's
work?
half the bed, interestingly. So what I can do is I only have half the mattress here. The other half is in the garage because the last trip I did, I was on my own. And when I'm not with Amy, I also like to have this.
Oh,
Here you go. Let me show you this. This,
what you got there?
here's my table.
Oh,
So
that's
here's the
the
other
table you
bench.
told us about.
Right. There's the bench I was sitting in. Here's the other bench. So if I don't want
Okay.
it, pull that off. And
That
now,
looks even
if
cooler than
we're
I thought, Mike. From how
exactly,
I pictured it in my head, this is actually really different. Okay,
if
so
I'm
how
going
does
to
the bed
travel,
fold?
well, I just do this.
Oh, that's
Boom.
totally different than I was thinking.
And so now, if I had the other half of the mattress, the other half would go here, and now it's a queen size bed. But again, when I'm traveling
Oh,
solo, I don't need to bring both mattresses. And because, interestingly, this past weekend, I went to Lowe's to get a bunch of lumber to buy to build some garden beds. I folded it up, and I was able to get all the lumber through the garage, stacked up. I can remove this. So there goes the table. Boom. And now I have this, again, 15-foot, 12-foot span through the entire van. So just nothing I could even have imagined with Willow.
well, I'm really glad that we got to talk to you in the van because that bed, I don't think I've seen another bed like that
No, because I
where
think
it's
this
can
is the
be
first.
where it's a single bed that folds out to a queen.
Right, right. And when I'm sleeping in it, I'll fold it out as a queen because otherwise the bed's sort of folded up underneath you. It's a little uneven. But still, to have that space if I wanted to lay in bed and have like my computer next to me or whatever. Um, and so, yeah,
Right.
it's like a really cool setup.
Okay, really interesting. I had pictured other types of folding beds that I've seen, so it's interesting to
Well, a
see
lot of
the
them go
totally
this way.
custom work. Yep, that's
Right.
what
A lot of them
I
fold
assumed it was
open
like
like
that.
that against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was very uh, creatively done.
Yeah, that's great. And Amy, I believe, was a driving force for more seating. Was she
Exactly.
wanting the benches or something like that?
Well,
Is
both
that
of us,
bench there
yeah,
the one she wanted?
yeah. Both of us wanted adequate seating spacing. So I'm sitting in the one bench. We talked a while ago about how on this back cabinet, which I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to move this great cushion. Boom. There's my electrical system. So
Oh,
this
you don't
whole
have to
piece
crawl through the
here.
garage for it.
Nope, nope. And then I can lift the top here to have access behind all the electrical. Um, Under the bench right here is my isotemp hot water heater. And
Okay.
then back here is the 20-gallon water tank. So again, having the luxury of most people will just have one bench seat or they'll have a full dinette. And that's where they have kind of the drop down beds or they have to fold to the side. We were able to add this bench right here. And so when we put the table, there's a person here. So it's a little bit, you know, your kitty corner from one another, but it still allows you to sit at a table and both eat dinner or both have your computer on and, feel like you're in your kitchen or your dining room.
Oh, it's fun to see it come to life. One of the
Yeah.
things we talked a lot about in earlier episodes was form versus function. Your
Hmm.
last van, Willow, if I remember right, had maybe a little more form than function. How do you feel like the balance has been here in your first four outings?
Oh, it has both. It's perfectly dialed in. I mean, here's that interesting cabinet we spoke about in the doorway. I really like this piece here that they chose not to put any drawers in, but as well, you got some drawers everywhere around. So yeah, the latches are really nice. The orientation is nice. The amount of space is nice. It's amazing how much drawer and cabinet space I have in this van. You know, um, yeah.
You had opted to give up a shower and toilet, which can be controversial. Uh, that gave you a lot more space, I imagined.
I do have a shower, but it's out back. And that was the same with Willow. And in Willow, this whole cabinet right here was about the size of the drawer that had the toilet in it, you know? So now I have got that much more storage space. And in the event we decide we want to get a small portable toilet, um, it, it's easy to do. You could just put it on the tray and pull it out or pull it in or whichever way we wanted to use it.
You mentioned the tweed in previous episodes and earlier today. Any other beautiful parts you want to mention while we're talking about it?
You see these countertops? It's called Rich Light, which it's, got you can see the plywood grains kind of in between. Just really tastefully done, and it goes really nice with the black accents of the metal. So I mean, just from a design perspective, if you're into color and texture, it just all really works nice. Yeah.
Tell us about the ceiling. I see it looks like maybe can lights up there. Oh,
Yeah,
look at
there's
that.
some, and what's really cool is you can uh, let's see. I'm still figuring it out, believe it or not. Okay, here we go.
I
I can
believe
turn them
it.
off in the back, or I can turn them off in the front. So they're on split sort of dimmers. All the lights are on
Nice.
dimmers. It's this really beautiful maple. Here's my servo touch screen. If I want to see what's going on in the electrical system. Um, and then I've got my Webasto Smart Temp 3.0 controller. Again, more lights, exterior lighting for the awning and the side lights. Um, so that's a real nice setup. Again, just sort of nicely done in the tweed, out of the way. Just, just so nice.
You seem like you're a kid in a candy store a little bit.
Yeah. Well, every time I come out of the house, when I come out in the morning, I always open the door because I work at home. So when I'm in my office, I'll come out and, just take a little walk around. And I always come and step in the van and I'll stand there and just look around. Okay, we're going away soon. We're going on a trip soon.
Drool a little
I'll put the
bit.
bikes on the rack. Yeah. Yep. I got my South Carolina hiking book and my Pisgah Forest trail map for mountain biking. Yeah, so I've got stuff in drawers now, and all I have to do is throw some clothes in it and go to the grocery store. But everything I need other than that is already stashed somewhere in the van.
You mentioned how you can use it as a cargo van because of the way you built the garage and the bed. Have you had to use it that way yet? I know you haven't had it that long, but
Well, yeah, like I said, the other day I went to Lowe's and building all these flower beds and garden beds, and this thing was stacked with 2x10s and 2x4s. And while I was shopping, I noticed this Japanese maple tree was at a really good price. So I drove home. It was about 20 minutes to get home. I turned around. I drove back. I put in like a 10-gallon root ball in the full tree that went from one end of the van to the other. This blood good Japanese maple. And this guy was looking at me. He goes, "You need some help doing that?" I said, "No, I got it." He goes, "You're gonna put that whole tree in there?" I said, "I sure am." And then I had 6 blueberry bushes, a couple ferns. Like you could have opened it, and I was like a mobile gardener delivery service. So I did 2 quick trips to back and forth to Lowe's, and once again I looked at my battery bank. I was like, "Holy smokes, it's 100% charged!" you know. So yeah, the beauty of having it as a multi-use, because I go to the Lowe's a lot for materials, and this is like fantastic. Mm.
one of the things we've talked a lot about in these episodes is how to make a van feel like a home, to really feel like it's yours. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
Remind us or tell us some new things. How have you done that with your van?
Well, again, it's still kind of new, but I've hung some things. This is my
What you
Ganesha.
got there?
Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. Yeah, I figured this is very appropriate for traveling on the road. The remover of obstacles. Um, and I'm big into music, so I've got my speakers. When I do my yoga practice in the morning, I usually like to light some incense. So but it actually one of my stained glass windows. I used to make stained glass, so I have one of those in there. So when the light comes through, it adds some color. Um, but it's slowly becoming more of a home as I decide. It's funny. I see some people's vans and they've got stuff hanging everywhere. I was like, that stuff's just going to fall off the minute you drive down the road. So I've learned my lesson not to sort of put too much stuff, jars on the counter. The minute you hit the brakes, shit's flying. So I do have some things when I finally park, I can set up my house. So, like I can move the speakers around or, just different little things that just that extra little bit of color, a little bit of whatever, just makes it that much nicer.
The bench cushions, are those from Site 7 or did you do those
Yeah.
separately?
Yeah. Check this out. She even made this one
Oh,
on
even that
top of the
pillow.
Yeah, yeah. Their seamstress is just next level. I mean, again, we picked
Wow.
out the fabric, and I kind of went with, that's not your average sort of fabric. I got a little wild with it, and I was like, let's give that a
Little
shot. And
amazing
even those guys are
Technicolor.
like, we would never have chosen that color fabric, but it looks fantastic. So yeah,
Looks
just again, it
fantastic.
adds a little pop, adds a little fun. Yeah, fantastic.
And you said they're making
Absolutely.
a a custom entryway, would you say a mat?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's um, it's kind of like a nylon tweedy fabric with a little bit of rubber under it, so it's a little spongier. So if you're standing on your feet a lot, and again, it's going to be a real light color. So just adding something different, just making it look a little, and it's removable. You can wash it off with a hose. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's put that just in this area here. And then I'll probably buy some sort of, black mat to go on bike tray. So if I'm throwing crap in there, just to, you know, make it a little nicer.
We had one episode that entirely focused on exterior. Have you been able to put anything out there to the test yet? Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, again, we talked about the electric steps. Those are just fantastic. Um, the awning, I've always loved the Fiamma awnings. It's a manual one. This awning, I got lights on it. So when Amy and I camped out a couple of weeks ago, we had the lights on. So that was kind of cool. And of course, the bike rack, to be able to put your bikes there and literally pull the rack away so you can still open the doors without even taking your bikes off the rack. Whoever thought of that's brilliant, because pretty much wherever the van goes, there's going to be at least two bikes on the back of the rack. And so that's been really nice. I haven't had to use the light bar yet because I didn't need to blind anybody. I do have one little light. Like I said, it's kind of a half shell light on the back driver's side door. And I was doing something back there and I was like, hey, Amy, can you turn that light on? I was like, it lit up beautifully out the back door. So, and of course, the upgraded suspension. I haven't done much sort of aggressive off road, but I was on some bumpy stuff getting to a trailhead. I was like, oh, this ride's really nice. So that's the Benny of that upgraded suspension.
And what's up next? You've done 4 little adventures. What's upcoming?
Well, Amy's got a few days off from work coming up next week, and apparently there's like 8 or 10 waterfalls in North Carolina, and it's like a 300-mile loop. And so we're going to see if we can do the whole loop and go to all the waterfalls. So we'll probably drive to the furthest one and then make our way back towards South Carolina. And then actually, we're taking Amy's daughter and 5 of her college girlfriends. We're going to a campground in North Carolina. Amy and I are going to stay in the van. And I bought the girls an 8-person tent and some blow up mattresses because some of her friends have never gone camping. So we're going to a
Oh,
campground, but the van will serve as like the mess hall because I'll be cooking burritos and making scrambled eggs in the morning for the 6 college girls. And then in October, I've got 2 music festivals. One in Pittsboro, North Carolina. That'll be 4 nights, a festival called Shakori Hills. And then the third week in October, I'll go off again to another festival called Leaf, which is Lake Eden's art festival just outside of Asheville. And I'll camp out for 4 nights there. So I'm going solo because Amy's working, but I'm a big festival goer. So there's lots of mountain biking in both of the areas I'm going to. So I'll be gone for, I'll have a good 8 or 10 days in the month of October living in the van and working for Vanlife Outfitters.
so
I'll be working, Gerald.
yeah, I was actually about to say, so if people call and talk to you, you might just be sitting right there, talking to them while you're out and about in the
I'll be at a
van. That's
festival.
fantastic.
Thank you, Starlink.
Uh, when you drove Willow away from the lot, I think you said 10 miles in or maybe an hour
Right,
in, you started
right,
talking about
right,
the things you would have done
yeah,
differently. So I hate to ask
right.
already, so soon, but is there anything you would have done differently on this one?
Well, I stopped after 10 miles because I wanted to get back and keep looking at it. Because Amy was following me. I said, I'm going to pull over at the next day. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I just want to walk around the van a little. I'm driving, looking through the rearview mirror. It all around me. At this point in time, I haven't discovered anything that I'm like, darn, if only I'd thought of that, it would be different.
Nice.
And like I said, at a certain point in time, you got to put the pencil down, as you had said a while ago. And no, I think it's all pretty darn close. Probably 99.9%. And I'm still waiting to see if there is something that I would change. I mean, I bought some black hooks from Lowe's the other day. I want to put a couple hooks on the back cabinet so I can hang my bike helmet when I come back from a ride and my pack. But those are just sort of things that, unless you specify, those are just my own little customizations. I got
Right, right.
some cool little magnets that go on the metal that just add a little color, kind of thing. But no, I think I did it.
Sounds like a win. At
Yeah.
least 4 trips in, it's the perfect van for Mike and Amy. I love it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Uh, all right. So you've probably already given us all the advice you have, but now looking back at the whole journey, what's 1 or 2 things you would leave our audience with that if they're going to be building a van, what are a few things that you think
Right.
you gotta do?
Well, and you brought this up in one of the earliest episodes, rent a van or try out a van. Um, Go to a festival and look at all the different crazy stuff, amazing stuff that people do. Um, and if you're going to hire a builder, make sure you get to know them, make sure that they can listen as well as suggest. Make sure that, you see some of their products, that they're responsive to your questions, that if you email them on a Monday, they actually get back to you Monday night or Tuesday morning, not the following Monday. Um, and don't be shy to question people or question builders. Um, Go online and do research. Look at our blogs. I was talking to a customer today. He goes, what do I need for an electrical system and a plumbing system? Here we go again. How do you plan to use your van? What things are you going to have in your van that you're going to need to power for? How much water do I need? I said, how many showers do you take a day? What do you,
How
and
long
so
are they?
yeah, exactly. Are you going to be going to campgrounds? Are you going to be off grid? I want to go fishing for a couple days with my wife. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. What is your wife like? Are you having an air conditioner? And here's an interesting thing. He goes, yeah, well, I bought all kinds of stuff for my van. He was from, I think he said he was from Mississippi or somewhere. So he had an accent. And And I said, yeah, a lot of people do that. They buy things they think they want for their van, but then when they really get into it, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have bought that until we actually thought about this other stuff. So we were on the phone for a good 45 minutes, and I basically left him with, by the way, it all comes down to math, figuring out what kind of power you're going to need, how you're going to use your van, and you go from there. And then you build a nice van.
Well, it certainly looks like you have built a really nice van. So I'm thrilled to hear you love it so much. Site 7 is not sponsoring this podcast, but I'm glad that it has worked out so well that we can say 2 thumbs up to the Site 7 team.
Oh,
Obviously,
absolutely.
there are really great builders all over the country, but whether you're in the Chattanooga area or not, Site 7 is one that you should look at.
Yep, I agree.
Mike,
and
thanks for
Vanlife
taking us along your journey. Yeah.
Well,
if you're looking to build or make a van, give us a call. Mike will call you. You can talk to Mike while he's looking at one of those waterfalls in the where the water
in North Carolina.
Hey, they can edit this out. Don't worry about it. Well, Mike, that was fantastic. Thanks so much for taking us along. It was really great to see you in the van.
Absolutely. Happy vanning, people.
Well, that wraps it up. The van is built, the journey from concept to creation is complete, and now Mike is already hitting the road. Whether you've been here since episode 1 or just jumped in along the way, thank you for listening to Mike's Van Build podcast, and especially thank you to Mike and Amy for letting us join you along your journey. As I mentioned before, I'm new to Vanlife Outfitters, so I have learned a ton through this process, and I'm excited to start another series soon, so stay tuned. In the meantime, photos, links, and details from this episode are up at vanlifeoutfitters.com/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and join us for the next series. I'm Jerem with Vanlife Outfitters. We'll see you out on the road.